Thank you, Madam Deputy Chair. I'm utterly astonished by this decision that's come to light today from the Labor Party. After the utter travesty of the Labor Party's spinelessness on the gaming bill in 2021, I thought I could never be so thoroughly disgusted by nakedly self-serving political calculations decimating values, principles, evidence and good governance. I was wrong though, because here we are. Here we are again, in fact, witnessing a pathetic capitulation by a party that is apparently the alternative government. And here they are, dancing like a puppet on a string to the government of the day. You don't look like an alternative government if what you're doing is determined by what you're trying to guess the government might be doing, and probably doing it badly. Make them, challenge them, make them do the pathetic thing in the other place if that's what you think is going to happen. Do your job here and make them take that action down there, and then hold them to account like an opposition with guts and a spine. Stand by your principles. Do what you told the community you would do. Do what you told stakeholders you would do who worked with you in good faith, developing the raft of amendments that you had brought to us months ago and that we all believed you were going to be moving. Why would you even bother turning up today? That's really not a rhetorical question, actually. Why? What would your Labor heroes think of this sort of behaviour? When I think of Labor heroes, I think of people like Jack Mundy in Sydney with the Green Bands. What would he think of this sort of behaviour? Kowtowing to something that might happen in the other place when you've got a job to do in this place. Those heroes would be turning in their grave, I think, at this sort of desertion of values and responsibility. Buying into this idea that somehow you need to be playing these political games and calculations, trying to win at any cost, and you're jettisoning off every ideal and value that you claim to have. It's an abrogation of responsibilities of being a member here in this place. Front and centre, an abrogation. It's our job here, we are charged here with reviewing legislation from the other place, ensuring it's good legislation to the best of our ability, and doing our job. To deliberately stand back and exit that field when you know this bill is flawed, you know we potentially have the means to improve it. On behalf of the Tasmanian people, we have the means potentially to improve it here in this place, and you are exiting the field. It's deplorable, utterly deplorable. You made it clear that you're going to deliberately sit there on your hands and enable bad and inadequate and potentially harmful to our democracy legislation go through. That's bitterly disappointing, I think, to the Tasmanian people and to those stakeholders out there, including civil society stakeholders who engage with us in good faith in this place. It's gobsmacking, unconscionable behaviour. It may well be that had we amended a bill here and sent it back down, having improved it with evidence, expert-advised changes, and in conjunction with civil society people who had put forward good suggestions for improvements, what we know would make this legislation better, it may well be that the government was hoping we might do that so that when it landed back down there they could somehow squirrel it away and not bring it on and not bring it to light. However, what would they look like? And quite frankly, the fact that we would all assume that that's likely what might happen is a damning indictment on the government. Damning indictment on them. As the member for Murchison said, all we've seen on this bill is delay, delay, delay. 5.5 years we've waited for this bill. 5.5 years we've waited for it to even arrive here. Every step of the way the government's delayed it. Every step of the way they've ignored every piece of expert evidence virtually put in front of them through their... I don't even know why they did consultation processes actually on this bill, because they ignored most of what was said to them from all the experts. They brought to this place, having delayed and delayed and delayed, a completely flawed bill. We all know that. It's clear as day. Completely flawed. So shame on the government for doing that in the first place. Shame on them for the delay. Shame on them for pretending to be committed to delivering this for the Tasmanian people. And it's very clear that the fact we would all imagine they may well refuse to bring it on for debate in the other place if it was amended. We all believe that that could be true. Shame on them for what that says about their standing in our eyes. And if that was what was going to happen, if we amended this bill and sent it back, if the government were going to refuse to bring it on for debate, for example, then that is a matter that should be dealt with in that place and amongst the community in conversation with all those stakeholders who have a keen interest in this. That's how that should be dealt with. There are ways also in the other place to bring things on for debate. Labor Party could easily have explored some of those options. This is a government that's very vulnerable. It's in minority. This is absolutely a betrayal, I think, of the Tasmanian people. I think Labor here have cemented their propensity for betraying Tasmanian people when it comes to actually standing by their values and principles. I believe already on this bill the government had already shown its colours as well in terms of betraying the Tasmanian people after promising in May 2018 that they would bring this reform forward genuinely. They never did. The only thing that happens if we wave this through, and no matter how much any of us try and bring amendments now, we know they're not going to get up. Doesn't mean of course it doesn't mean we won't try them. If we were to continue with this bill, of course we would try them. But they won't get up because the Labor Party have decided they won't. There is absolutely every reason that we should still attempt it. However, I also think we should have a fair chance, as a member for Mersey said, to consider the amendments that we now know won't be being brought by the Labor Party. We've only found out about this in recent hours. We should have an opportunity to at least consider bringing them because some of those things deserve to be debated on the floor. And we should also consult with stakeholders out there who had been working in good faith with the Labor Party before they were betrayed. I intend to do my job here. It's always my intention to do my best to do this job well. It's what we're tasked with when you're elected to this place. If you don't want to do the job of this place, don't run for election here. Run for election in a different place. This is the House of Review. This is where we're supposed to consider legislation and we're supposed to consider improvements to it. It's not the place where we're supposed to be playing politics and second-guessing the other place. I'm utterly disgusted. If there was a mechanism here today for me to move a motion of no confidence in Rebecca White and the Labor Party, I would do it right now. I'd move a motion of no confidence in their ability to be an effective opposition. There's nothing, obviously, I can do in that space.
Back to this bill we're dealing with.
That's how mad I am about this. So what I'm going to suggest is I certainly want the opportunity to consider the amendments that we were aware were to be moved by the Labor Party and had been worked on by the Labor Party with stakeholders externally. I would like the opportunity to consider those in terms of which ones we might and others might want to bring and to be able to consult on it. We require, I think, in all fairness, the opportunity to do that. And I also support what the member for Launceston was saying, that some people also want to seek more information, potentially through a briefing that might be offered on some of the particular concerns brought to our attention about the utter dysfunction of the bill in its current state in relation to public funding of the lower house. So on both those counts, what I would like to do is move that we report progress at this time so that those two things can happen, so that consideration can be properly given and, if necessary, people can seek the briefing or the information they require.
You just need to seek leave to report
I'd like to seek leave to report progress.
Okay. The honourable member seeks leave to report progress. Is leave granted? Those that opinion say aye.
Aye.
Against no? I think the ayes have it.